Hi guys, it's Mark from the TGH68 in France, and today we're going to speak a word about the 1/14 scale beginner car from RLAARLO, RLAARLO. In USA, you can get that car on Amazon USA. In our country, you have to go to the website from there. The website is not yet open. And when it will be, the 201st guys who gonna order this car, this gorgeous little car here, gonna get it for the half of the price. The price would be around $200 or 200 euros, and the 201st gonna get it for 100. This is basically, for the most who know the 1/14, 1/16 scale business, like a wltoy, but is not. It's the same basis, but there is some slight different stuff on it. We have carbon shock tower, pin holders, and chassis. And the chassis was made with the kick-up in the front and the kickback in the rear. And this is something especially like, because no fear, the angle from the rear axle are on the right place, because it's in the X holder. Like you see here, they are way more high from the chassis as the front. This little kick down or up, or like you want to say it, is super great, because you win suspension travel in the rear, or when you're landing here, you're not gonna hit too fast the rear chassis. This is something I miss in 110 and in 1/8 scale. Because of that, you see it here. Most of us has these issues that we really fast wear the rear from the chassis when we like to drive with soft suspension. For those who drive with harder suspension, it's not a problem, but for a soft driver, it's an issue. And this provides that. You have a nice looking body. For the moment, you have only this color. I don't know if you're gonna make other colors. I hope so. I'm not a freak from this color. Not because it's a girly color. For me, there's no girly or man color. It's just what you like or not, and I don't like that color. However, if you change the color, you had to make some other shock damper, so I think we don't gonna have some other colors. We have here a nice little, for the look, just only for the look, washer, more here from the same color as the rest from the car. The body is like, you know which brand. It's look like, I like it. Suspension out from the box is also well set it up. It's really nice, like I love it. It's a little bit stiffer in the front and super nice smooth in the rear. That's the way I drive my car also. The rear ring is also way bigger and nicer as that what we see at Lowe's Emii, wltoy, LC Racing or Team SO Reflex stuff. I really like that. It's super flex. It's also a good idea. The body is hold down with 3-pin, provide the body from flap around. It's also something I like. You have counter strong everywhere. Screws wise, you have posi drive, not hex. It's not an issue because you have everywhere posi drive, and this is something I like. Everywhere the same type of screws. That's anytime a good point. We have some nice looking wheels on it. I prefer way more the design from that than what the all other does. The tire has no foam inside. That's something I miss here. I would like to have some foam in there. Many of you are gonna say, okay, the car is just 1 kilogram heavy and it's a beginner car, but this little monster is rated between 60 and 70 kilometers an hour in 2S and to 90 to 100 kilometers in 3S. That's a little bit overkill, I think. I would like to have another gear reduction, and this is one not a bad point. you have the motor mount like at the wltoys. That means you have no possibility to change the gear mesh. You have only one position for the motor and only one big gear on the motor. Main gear and pinion are in 32 GP. That's nice. It's not like by the LC Racing and at the Timasa 84 or smaller pitch. I really prefer that. It's way more resistant and way more noiseless. It's more noiseless than the other stuffs. You have CVD in the front with a stock C-hub suspension. The plastics feels good and flexible. You have the mount here for a sway bar. You have the holes there to put the screw in, but you have not here the opening to put the stuff in. You can cut it yourself for sure. And if you really want a sway bar, but I don't mean it's absolutely necessary at such a car with such a light weight to have a sway bar. I have it on my LC Racing Truggy there, but I know I don't have it on the Monster, don't have it on the Desert Buggy, and I really not feel the difference between the two. So I don't think it's necessary to get those. It will be necessary if you want to make an on-road car with that little monster. We have a wheelie bar and a big rear bumper. Releflex, a little bit overkill on a buggy, but it's okay. I prefer to have it and don't need it to don't have it and need it. In a car you have maybe it looks like an XT motor, 28 not 50 but 47 can motor, between 3.5 and 3.8,000 kV. I had the spec on my email, but I forgot how many exactly it is. They go lower with the kV because you have here a big pinion in there. Servo is all plastic servo. It's fast, it's smooth, works great. 3-wire servo. ESC is also receiver in brushless version. That's something I like for so small car. It's okay. And maybe it's something I can use if you have some other small cars with brushed motor and ESC in there. It's also going to be a nice idea to power up your car, because with this radio system you also have here the possibility to power down the high speed for your kids. And if you take a brushless car and go down with the power up to, just for the car goes maybe 20 or 30 kilometers an hour for a kid. The big good stuff on there is that you have a 2800 milliamp battery. That means that if you put the speed down with such a type of battery, your kid's gonna run an hour before the battery is down. So it's set it for lithium polymer battery, so take care if you want to put a lithium ion in there, there's gonna be a cutoff issue. I find nothing in the manual to change any setting on the ESC. Also no way to calibrate the throttle. That's something I miss. I'm gonna show you in a few minutes why. You have a plastic upper deck. Why did they not put the carbon upper deck in there? Or just because the chassis is already rigid enough, so you don't need here an additional carbon part. I agree, it would look overkill nice because the Ackerman plate is also made with carbon. So I opened the diffs. The diffs are upgraded to the wltoy version. You have better steel at main gear, bigger tooth, and you have 4 satellite in there. That's just fine grease in the differential, maybe too thin. In the rear it's okay, in the front not, so I put here a little bit thicker oil. I put here 1 million CST oil in there, not weight but CST. Take care the differential are not closed with a sealant, so you have to use grease or thick oil, because thin oil gonna go out from the diff so fast as you fill it up. You also have a big play between the drive cup and the intake from the differential, so the oil gonna go out this way too. It's not an issue because it's a small car, so you don't need to have a really precise mount system and all that stuff. I think we're gonna it's gonna work fine. And for that price, many of you are gonna say, okay, same price as the LC Racing, who have a better transmission, have a slipper, because you have here no slipper clutch in there, nothing to protect the transmission. Remember, it's a beginner car. A slipper clutch is not the best for beginner, because you have to be used to make the adjustment at this part. You get some spare wheel hacks and washers. You get with the car a whole set of suspension arms and pins. You get a front CVD, a dog bone and spindle, a spar. You get the tools to work on a car. Just miss one hex for the motor pinion. It's clear, it's not a big deal. Got finger on it if you're going to disassemble until the motor. And I'm going to check something here. Also, the bolts here are in hex, so you need a 1.3 millimeter hex for the motor pinion and a 1.5 for this bolt here. And you get a front rally or GT car bumper. For those who are gonna go for speed runs, you get also body post within there, because in that scale you can find some cool little body to put on a car for those who want to change, not drive only just a buggy. I don't know if RLAARLO gonna make some different type of cars, if you're just gonna make the buggy, or if you're gonna go for a truggy, a muggy, desert buggy, shortcuts, rally car. That's something we're gonna see with the time. You have the manual, who's really good done. It's way enough to understand which works in which sense, how to use the car, how to maintain and repair it. You have all the details from the mounting for the car. Just one thing special, you have absolutely no part number for each part. You just have the description. I don't know if this is gonna be changed with the time, or when you order you need just to use the description from the part. You also see here that the hubs are gonna come in metal parts. C-hubs front and rear, C-hubs in caster block, all that stuff gonna be in steel. I have here the full plastic systems, and I'm wondering, because at the box you see here that you also have the alloy or steel parts here at this point. And you see here support 2 and 3S from up to 100 kilometers an hour. That's crazy for such a little car, especially for beginner, because we know we all have begun somewhere with the brushless, and it's absolutely a need when you begin in brushless to try to drive fast. But it's the wrongest thing you can do. It's anytime there that you destroy your car as a beginner. Like with the jumps. I know many of you see many people jump and jump and jump and do crazy stuff with the RC cars. But if you are a beginner, stop to do it. Try first little jumps, long jumps, before you go too hard. And always also remember to be smooth on throttle and steering, and use your brain to drive. I do the same mistake at beginning with brushless, as I discovered brushless 4 years ago at the first beginning from brushless motors. It was even not made for put in RC cars. We just take a brushless motor, fitted in a nitro 1/8 scale car, put some, we had no lipo at that time, we put some a nickel metal high drive on there, and we destroy anything on the car. We go too fast, we jump too high, we put too big pinion gear on it. That's why I know how to destroy a car. I'm still not absolutely out from this period, even after 20 or 30 years from brushless driving. Sometimes I drive a little bit smooth and nice, but generally after a few minutes the demon trigger gets me. So to put the power on, it's here at the radio, just a little knob. It's nice because you cannot put it on while you transport the transmitter, unlike Spectrum, who has the knob in the back, and if you just hit the knob your radio goes on. Here it's not the case. You have the reverse switches, you have a steering trim, a steering rate, and take care, but the most of you has just checked it so fast as I. The steering trim has 5 left, 0, 5 right. The steering rate goes from 0 to 10, and here you have the throttle trim, but you see here from 0 to 10, because this is not the trim, this is the power rate. The throttle rate, you can slow the car down here with this little part. So put the power on the radio system anytime first, then the car, wait the beeps, so he has done the neutral. Steering is really fast and brutal. I have almost the dual rate set to the minimum, and I always still have a fast and enough steering for this car. What's a little bit bothering me is that one. When you hit the throttle, you see here you have 5 millimeters, nothing. Then you begin to get some speed up. It's not overgeared. When you look here, the car gonna start smooth without any cogging. You see, really easy. But because you lose already 5 millimeters here, it's gonna be brutal at the end. You see? So we're gonna see what happened in the dirt. It's not a problem. For those who are gonna drive 3S and power, take care. One thing I really like at the transmitter is that backward you have a harder spring than frontward. It's easy to hit the throttle, but it's less easy to brake, and that's good because many people are too brutal at braking, and in the fact to have here a harder spring, you're gonna be smoother on brake. That's a really good idea to have made it. You also have the little foam here with the color from the body, some little tuning stuff. I don't care about this because I'm not a tuning freak. I just want my car to drive long and have fun. So if someone of you had already heard from this car or have one from that car, please ask in the comments. If you have a wltoy, if you have the LC Racing, I also want to see you and hear you in the comments. Also for those who have the Team SO Reflex, and for all the Team Lousy Mini 8 lovers. I know there's many from you who really like Mini 8, and it's for you it's the best of the world. Just remember, go try an LC Racing car before, and then you're gonna see why I prefer the LC Racing. So price wise, I would say in the 200 bucks for this little dude with spare parts, complete RTR. You have to love the colors from the car, it's clear. If you ask me which, before I drive it, now which did you prefer between the same platform, that means wltoys, LC Racing, and this one? I gotta say, I like the fact that they put the carbon everywhere. I miss the possibility to change the gear at the motor. I love suspension set out from the box, and the rest is something I'm gonna discover while driving the car. I still, for the moment, prefer my LC Racing because I have the different center shaft system. This one has like wltoys. You have the shaft going into the front and rear differential direct at the pinion. At wltoys it can be a problem because the chassis can flex. So you have some parts moving in the differential and you can crush your differential main gear. Here it's not gonna happen because it's beefier done at the wltoys, and you have the carbon chassis who is rigid, not gonna flex really fast. So maybe this is gonna hold longer than the transmission at the wltoys. But I still prefer the transmission at the LC Racing because I have a slipper clutch and I have 2 output drive shafts and a smaller center main dog bone. So even if you have some flex, I have some room to not stress my transmission. However, the chassis is more flex because it's an alloy chassis at this LC Racing, and you have to buy separately a Carbone upper brace. This one don't need it because the whole chassis is made from Carbone. So the wltoys version are, from the price wise, the lowest. You get a bigger battery with that one, you get a better chassis, a better suspension. I think also the motor is better quality. We're gonna see what happens with ESC and all the stuff. A radio system is a basic radio system. All both, all 3, all 4 or 5 works. It's not a big deal. For all the English speaking guys, you're gonna miss something. I get this car for free. They send it for me for free. I don't have to ask anything super good and nice on it. I just have to discover the car, drive it, and give my true opinion. That's something I like. Many brands contact you when you have an RC channel, want to give you something, but only if you tell good stuff. And if you be nice, you can get more free stuff, like sailors, Kiwis, and all that stuff. Nothing against them. They do the job like they want. I'm not well known for being a brand licker. I prefer to be true. I prefer when a brand say we don't give you anything more because you was not nice with me, because that means I have done right job. I started this channel to just show naked truth about what I do with the car, on the car, and how the car survived that. I'm not drive especially to destroy my car to make sure I don't just, how I say, lick the ass from the brand to get some free stuff. I have a little bit experience, so I can tell the difference between the same style from car, LCW, and this one. Maybe there's 2 or 3 other brands who use the same basis. When you look at the Mini 8, is also same based, and you're never gonna know which has begun with. Sometimes you know, oh, this is just the copy of that nice brand, but in fact you don't know if this is the original, or wltoys is the original, or the low-Z ones are the original. Many people can say the first who do that was low-Z, so the low-Z is the original, but you never gonna know if where low-Z has buy the stuff. if they have do it themselves or if they ask something to do it for them, and just sail it the first on your side of the world, America or Europe, because if we go grab a little bit on the Chinese side, you will see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years before they already had that stuff. That's the fun side from the world. So if you know anything more than me, just comment. If you have some question, ask me. If you have some experience with how I always say all that 1/13 scale cars, Low Z, Laro, TMSO Reflex, LC Racing, wltoys, and which others? You have FS Racing, FDX. You have so many brands today, it's just impossible to know anyone. So if you have a car from that size who seems to be at the same platform or a little bit different, ask us about it, because it's just a channel to share about RC and our good and bad experience. See you on a run. I know when I do the run I speak French. I'm a French channel, but if I get the time, I know I have to do. I had done it 1 or twice for 6-shooter in Memphis, USA. Hi to you. An English video, also one for Painted RC in England. I have done an English speaking video on a run to share my impression, how it feels when I drive, and all that stuff. Stay tuned. I also know the last time I have done really less English video because I have to take care first of my job and my family, and that's why you see me less in English. I'm gonna try to catch it up, but I cannot promise, guys. Stay tuned.